Okay, people, here we go. Another basic algorithm. Let's copy this right here. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, I like to do this in the REPL. I just like the, because this console only gives you the results of the test, not any console logs or anything like that. So here, I do it here so I can write console logs to myself to test the code as I'm going. Just like working with it better here. Alright, so you're given two arrays and an index. Array 1, array 2, and an index. You use the array method slice and splice to copy each element of the first array into the second array in order. So begin inserting elements at index n of the second array. Return the resulting array. The input arrays should remain the same. The input arrays should remain the same. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so let's first of all, I'm thinking slice. What happens if I do that? Alright, so slice takes an array, and if you say it slices the pieces out of it. Since I didn't tell it what to slice, it sliced the whole thing, or it didn't slice anything, I guess. So if you give it like 0, it should slice it. Well, it's supposed to take two numbers, two indexes, right? 0 and 1, for instance. So 0 is where it's going to start slicing, and 1 is where it's going to stop. So it won't take 1, right? Wherever the second one is, the end point is that it won't take that number. In other words, if I said just 0 and 1, it takes 0 but doesn't take 1. It stops before it gets there. So if I give it 2, it takes 0 and 1 but doesn't take 2. That's where it stops. So for example, if I say 0, 1, it should give us just 4, right? If I give it 2, it should give us 4, 5. If I give it 3, it should give us, the index is 0, 1, and 2, right? Which is 4, 5, and 6, right? Or if you're doing the whole thing, or let me rephrase that. If you give it just 1, it gives you all the way to the end, wherever that happens to be. So I gave it 0, it goes from the 0 index to the end. But if I give it 1, it goes from index 1 to the end, right? So, okay, so where's array 1 and array 2? So, alright, so if we wanted to go from somewhere to the end, right? Slice from somewhere to the end. What if we give it n, whatever our index is, right? And that'll give us 5 and 6, right? Because here it's giving us index, our input is index is 1. So it's putting 1 in here, as we did when we did 1, right? It's going from index 1, so it's giving us 5 and 6, right? That makes sense. So what if we wanted to get, right, so that's the second half, right? So what if we did, what is going on? Apparently you can't do that shortcut that copies the line down below it, or at least it's not the same shortcut that's in VS Code. Anyway, so what if we did array 1 slice 1, or I mean 0, right? 0 to the end. So we wanted to go from the beginning only up to n, right? See, so now we've got, wait, 1, 5, and 6, what? Where's it getting the 1 from? Array 1, oh, that's this. So we don't want that. That's not what we're trying to do yet. We're trying to still do, right, you see what I'm doing here? They were trying to stick array 1, which is 1, 2, 3, somewhere inside of array 2. starting at index 1. In other words, starting right here, in between 0 and 1. So we want to stick this whole array, 1, 2, 3, in between there. So if we can separate this into the two pieces, then we just jam this first array inside of it, right? So if we had, for instance, then it's going to be into an array, right? So if we said, we did this first, array 2 dot slice. That'd be the first element. The second element would be array 1, and the third element would be this part, which would be the second half, right? Let's see what happens. What does this give us? 3 arrays, which is not exactly what we want. We want to return the resulting array. We don't want an array of arrays. Use the array methods to copy each element of the first array into the second array. Oh, that's why it said return array 2 with default. So we're going to return, so we just want not an array of arrays, we just want an array. So do you know how to get the digits or the elements outside of an array? You do the spread. This ... takes, if you do that to an array, it takes the items of the array out of an array and just makes them like a list. So you see what I did there? It's not in an array anymore. It's just a list. So we do that to here, and we do that here. See? Look at that. And I think that might be it. Get rid of that. What happens here, right? I think that might be the answer. Forget about returning array 2 exactly. Right? Nope. Excellent. Pass the tests. Running test. All elements from the first array should be added to the second array in their original order. The first array should remain the same after the function runs. The first array should remain the same. Yeah, see, this doesn't modify the array, by the way. That's what they're saying. It makes like a copy. Okay? The second array should remain the same. So in other words, just to give that a little explanation, so forget about this for a minute. If we just said array 1, right? That's fine. It gives us the stuff that's inside of array 1, right? But it didn't change array 1. So we see when after we do that to it, we return array 1, it's still the same. So that's the thing. There must be something if you use, I just noticed we didn't use splice at all. Use slice and splice. Maybe if you're using slice and splice, you can, if you're not careful, you'll modify these. But the way we did it with this spread operator, it makes a copy and doesn't modify the original one to begin with. So just to review there a little bit, this spread operator is really handy. What it does is it takes an array and returns a copy of the items that are inside of the array, but just as a list. They're not in an array, they're just a list of items. Alright, and so there you go, there's my solution for it. Alright, see you guys next time.